Alright, Scrafters, we're back. We are here with what I believe is the final round 1 game. We are on Jagannatha. We have the orange Protoss, PhileepFilop, against, in the bottom left, the blue Terran, spacelobster. I'm hoping to see some good stuff from this game. This SCV, presumably about to drop down the supply depot, thank you very much. Presumably, a pylon will come down very shortly. Is time slow or something? It seems as though the players are arguing whether or not the time has been set incorrectly. It's normal to play your games on faster, ever since Legacy of the Void. It didn't used to be like that, but it is like that now. And I think the game is much better for it. The pylon going to come down late for PhileepFilop, so they have this mineral bank here, and that means that the Terran's gonna have their barracks long before the Protoss has a gateway, which, you know, if they just decide to walk the Marine across the map, well, that could be problematic. But of course, they don't know this, because they haven't sent anything across the map. The gateway gonna come down now, and we're gonna see 2 gateways immediately. I swear this is half speed. I don't know, it looks pretty normal to me. No, they're right. Let me just pause this quickly, okay? They're right. I want you, the viewers at home, to watch the timer. That isn't how fast seconds are. Notice how the timer is going faster than it should. That's because the replay is on faster speed, like it should, like the game should be. Which means that these players are actually playing on a slower speed than faster, which is not what you're supposed to do. This is the first time in the tournament this has happened, I believe. I might be wrong. So these players playing on slow motion. I'm not going to slow down the game to show what that looks like. But yeah, that's essentially what's happening. Whether or not the other player, I'm not good enough for... What? What do you mean you're not good enough? That's just how the game is played. What do you mean? What? Nah, come off it. Nah. Okay, I guess this is just how it goes. This is fascinating, I'm gonna tell you. This is absolutely fascinating. Alright, overall command for the Terran. This guy gonna go down to the drop his expand. Meanwhile, the Protoss gonna send a probe to have a look around and hopefully drop an expand. This forge timing seems a bit weird to me. Will this probe even be able to see anything? Well, it probably won't be getting into the main, but it will see the reactor, it will see the expand. Very, very straight up play from the Terran here. You love to see it. Well, apart from the fact that your mineral lines, your main still isn't saturated, it absolutely should be. So, apart from that, great opening, honestly. This isn't a full wall. Actually, no, it is, I think. My bad. The probe gonna go into the corner and die. We'll see there's an expand. The Marine gonna have a moment with the corner. What was that? That was funky, wasn't it? Okay, more factory and a barracks coming down for the Terran. That makes sense. Okay, I love to see this from the Terran player. Very, very straight up stuff. Again, apart from the fact that this mineral line still isn't saturated, please fix that. Thank you very much. Looks as though nothing is really happening for the Protoss. Things are coming out of these gateways, but PhileepFilop, you needed to put a cybercore down like 2 minutes ago. Like, why have you got this forge just standing here idle doing nothing? If this was a cybercore, you could have, you know, been researching warp gate, and then these units would be coming out, you know, quite a bit faster. So, you know, that's something to think about, Mr. PhileepFilop or Mrs. PhileepFilop or any other. Sorry, I shouldn't assume what your pronouns are. I do apologize. Anyway, so yeah, no, not this forge, please. Don't forget that a side core is a critical building for you as a Protoss player. At the very least, you're remembering to build your workers, which, you know, the NGB are going to come down for the Terran. Not the worst timing for it, honestly, as long as it actually gets used, you know. As it is, you're building, you know, some Marines, but you haven't got a tech lab on your barracks, and it's idle. Oh, okay, here comes a tech lab. Okay. Alright. So that's good to see. Alright. So you're presumably going to get upgrades to your Marines, which is good. Alrighty. Both players actually spending their resources pretty well, I've got to say. Again, you could be spending it a lot better if, you know, you had Warp Gate, but no, instead you're going to get +1 weapons. I'll give you a hint. Okay, now the cybernetic score comes down. Now, this should have been in reverse order. The cybernetic score should have come down first. You should have already finished researching Warp Gate, because yes, +1 weapons, ground weapons is an upgrade that is, you know, good. You know what's better than +1 weapons? Warp Gate. Insane upgrade. This isn't Brood War. This is StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Warp Gate exists. Meanwhile, Stim and Combat Shield being researched simultaneously. Once again, good stuff from the Terran. Apart from the fact that I'd like to see some more workers on this base and, you know, transfer some workers here, please. 3 supply depots going down, presumably to deal with the supply bug. Alright, sure, man. Sure, whatever floats your boat, Chief. The Protoss has put down this pylon. Presumably there's going to be some warping shenanigans once the warp gate's actually done. Of course, warp gate could have been done by now, but it wasn't, which, you know, bad. Tank and a medevac coming out for the Terran. Okay. Bit slow, but, you know, this stuff is genuinely the stuff you want to build with Marines, so that's good. This missile turret in a kind of a weird position, but we have seen missile turrets here do some shenanigans. I remember seeing a missile turret in this position 1v1ing, well, I think it was a 2v1? No, it was a 1v1 maybe, I can't remember. It just took down a Colossus, which is a funny interaction. As it is, this small Protoss army going to be running into the Marines. As it is, I think the Terran should be fine, because now this tank's coming down, and, like, yeah, it's fine. Sieging up in melee range of the dude is not a good idea. In fact, because of that, you're going to lose this tank. Well, that was just sloppy, isn't it? There was absolutely no reason whatsoever to lose your tank. If you'd sieged it up here, it would have been able to actually get a shot off, and it wouldn't have just been meleeed by the Zealots. You could have closed this, you could have sieged the tank up here, and you would have been able to contribute to the fight, because you could have kited the Zealots over here with the Marines, but you didn't do that. And there's no excuse for that, especially because you guys are playing on a slower speed. Like, the micro should be easier, so, you know, losing your tank there is just sloppy. As it is, PhileepFilop has a warp gate. PhileepFilop. Why do you have a warp gate here? Units don't come out of the warp gate, you warp them in. You can just have the pylon here and have this warp gate at home. Okay? Like, you don't need this. This could be at home. Also, please tech up. Build like a Twilight Council on a Templar Archives. You can't win the game off of gateway units. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. Especially not when your opponent has tanks and medivacs and Stim and Combat Shield Marines. Because those have now finished. I think the engineering bay is literally standing here idle with no upgrades, which is kind of funny. I mean, yes, you put down 1 missile turret, but that's not really the reason. 4 Zealots going to probably die without getting any value whatsoever. Yep, that is correct. And the Terran army, okay, no, they decided not to go on the move, even though if they did, they probably would have won the game. Because look at this supply difference. It's just massive. 44 army supply to 8. Like, this does win the game if it goes to the base right now. But they are gonna miss this. They've missed this warp in. So, yeah. It's gonna be a bit ugly. These guys gonna presumably go into the Terran, but they're probably gonna catch this tank. Yeah, look, he's gonna shoot at this guy. These Marines gonna see it. They're gonna get the Stalker, but, like, you know, trickling in Marines isn't like this. You want to pull them back and have them all amass, like someone like here, so you can actually fight them with numbers, not just trickle in your army to die. Okay, siege up the tank, please. Yes, yes. That's good tank positioning. I like to see this. A Viking also going to come out as the Terran army starts its assault on the main base of the Protoss. So we've got action happening on both sides of the map. Of course, the Terran's attack is far more substantial. The boys are pulled. They're having a moment, but they have been pulled. Meanwhile, this natural is going to fall to this Terran army. You siege up this tank, please. That would be nice, wouldn't it? This guy going to die. This is going to die. And, yeah, it's not looking good for the Protoss, is it? Because 4 Stalkers, and then, like, you know, a lot of Marines and a tank and a Viking? My money's on these guys, honestly. The Stalkers, as it is, are just gonna sit here doing nothing. They did get the expand, but, like, for what? You're losing your expand, and, like, you have no response to this. Because you're warping in, like, 3 units at a time. Because you only have 1 active warp gate now. You're gonna expand this ninja location, which I don't think's gonna help you, honestly. Like, you're so far behind in army, and even workers, that this is just not gonna happen. That being said, most of the workers aren't adding any efficiency to the Terran because this is their only base, and it's heavily oversaturated. More Vikings gonna come out. I'm not quite sure why the choice of Vikings, but I don't know. It seems as though they'll do something. And yeah, it looks as though the Terrans are going to win the game here. They'll kill the main base of the Protoss. The Protoss will continue to build things like their ninja expand, but I'm going to be honest, it's not going to be enough. It's absolutely not going to be enough. The Terran will eventually find this and win the game. It's that simple, really. Like, your supply cap right now. Once that Immortal's finished, once that Immortal's come out, you can't build anything else. You can't build any more units. I think the supply cap will be broken because you're going to lose more units, but, you know, still, not great, is it? Alright, so, upon realizing this doesn't end the game, the Terran now knows, oh, there are hidden buildings. So they're presumably going to go find those. They're going to miss this pylon and this probe, but the scans are coming down frantically to try and find where their opponent is. I love that. That's funny. The Cyber Core is being rebuilt along with some gateways. There's no chance. Let's look at the APM. Okay, it's going back down now. Okay, that was a shame. I was seeing impressive APM for about half a second. Anyway, it looks like they found the base, and this is presumably where the game ends because there's no army for the Protoss, and there is army for the Terran. So that's going to be GG any moment now. Please don't make them have to kill all your buildings, PhileepFilop. And, yeah, that's it, really. The Terran built far more than the Protoss did, so the Terran won. Simple as that. Really, if you build more, you win. Cyber War far too late, didn't have enough warp gates, didn't tech up at all. The Terran did tech up. You know, just one player has the basics down, the other not really. Okay. Well played. Yeah, I agree. They played really good. I agree, PhileepFilop. You too. Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? Some good sportsmanship from these guys. I like that. Not really. No, don't put yourself down. That's not allowed. You're not allowed to do that. Big yourself up. Don't put yourself down. I don't care how you actually played. You gotta keep your spirits up, dude. Trust me. It's good, you know? If you can't love yourself, how are you gonna love anyone else? It's true. It's true. Anywho. 1-0 to spacelobster. GG.